Nigeria says all options are on the table to resolve crisis in Niger Republic. This one got me very curious because why is Nigeria saying that? Shouldn't Niger be saying that for Niger? Well, let's check this video out.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Eye on Africa on France 24. I'm Nadia Massi. Here are the headlines on the continent this Tuesday. Nigeria slaps fresh sanctions on the military junta in Niger as it says all options are on the table to restore President Bazoum to power nearly 2 weeks after the coup d'etat. Despite an opposition boycott, voters in Car overwhelmingly endorse a new constitution, paving the way for President Touadera to run for a third term. And we get reaction from Rwanda to a UN court decision to indefinitely halt the trial of Felicien Kabuga, an alleged financier of the 1994 genocide. First then, it's been nearly 2 weeks since the coup d'etat in Niger, and neighbour Nigeria says all options do remain on the table to restore the democratic government. President Bola Tinubu and the West African body ECOWAS had threatened military action if President Bazoum was not reinstated as Niger's leader. But he still remains under de facto house arrest at the presidential palace, and the deadline for his release expired on Sunday. So this Tuesday, it still remains unclear whether regional countries do intend to use military force, but they are continuing to isolate Niger economically, with Nigeria imposing fresh sanctions.
What are the sanctions?
Reaction to those sanctions and a look at what may lie ahead for Niger, here's the analyst Annelise Bernard speaking to our producer, Kamina Delic.
This is the thing that needs to be done in order to make it clear that the US, the West, ECOWAS does not respect an overthrow of constitutional order. These sanctions are important in that regard. And if this is the only way that this junta is going to understand that this is a serious violation of democratic norms and of the people's will, then these sanctions obviously need to remain. So I think what we should anticipate is that if there's no backing down, back-channel dialogue will continue between both ECOWAS and other partners like the US with these junta leaders. We know those conversations are happening.
Others want to get involved. If they don't back down, what is going to happen? Let's hear that again.
Sanctions obviously need to remain. So I think what we should anticipate is that if there's no backing down, back-channel dialogue will continue between both ECOWAS and other partners like the US with these junta leaders. We know those conversations are happening. The sanctions will come to a point where it will force these people to the table for sure. So it just might not be something we see in the next couple of days, but in theory, this should bring people to the table over at least the next week or so.
Going back to...
I think yesterday they said they want to dialogue the people. The coup leaders in Niger, they called for a dialogue.
ECOWAS, it does have a history of military intervention in coup-stricken countries, but it hasn't intervened in Mali, Guinea or Burkina Faso. So why Niger and why now?
Despite what the junta has said out loud, Niger has actually experienced increased stability since Bazoum took office, both due to the counterinsurgency tactics that the Bazoum administration had been implementing in Tillaberi and Difa, respectively.
They said Bazoum. They said Niger has seen improvement in stability since Bazoum took over power. Now, the question I would ask there is, then why do the people want to take him out of seat? Because if you're a good president and the people are seeing that the nation has improved, especially since you came into power, then they would want you to stay more. So what changed in the people's mind? Is somebody polluting the people's minds, or didn't they see the changes that the president was doing? That would be the question I would ask in this case.
Where you have both of these terrorism crises, the Lake Chad Basin Boko Haram crisis, and of course the crisis in the Sahel. And the security forces had actually been able to really conduct appropriate levels of force protection, securing the population and repelling jihadist threats across the border. So I suspect that the difference here and the reason there was this levying of a threat of use of force was because this really was the violation of the constitutional order, a violation of the will of the people in many ways. That said, what we have seen in the past week since the coup actually took place is an interesting level of popular support surrounds the junta leaders, the CNSP, that makes it seem like any kind of use of force militarily by ECOWAS or anyone else would not be received well and would, if anything, inflame the tensions that are clearly brewing at the civil society level of this
you're right on
anti-European, anti-Western, and certainly anti-colonial trend line. So I think, a couple of days ago, we saw the potential for ECOWAS vis-a-vis Nigeria to actually do this and move forward a potential intervention. I don't know if that's going to happen in the future. I think we're back to the table with intense, both back channel and front channel negotiations.
And what does the worsening security situation in the Sahel mean for the rest of the region? Is there a threat for spillover?
Absolutely. Spillover from jihadist threats that are staging out of the central Sahel. So the Liptako-Gourma region that hugs the tri-border of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Those threats, which started there in around 2015 or started to get more violent in 2015, have in the past year, namely since 2020, very actively spilled over into coastal West Africa. Jihadist threats, both violent attacks and also active recruitment at the local level, has been taking place in Benin, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire since at least 2019 and 2020. And in the past few weeks, we've also seen indications that there's more jihadism recruitment taking place in Ghana itself as well in the north. So
in Ghana?
If Niger does collapse or becomes an impermissible and non-reliable partner for Western counterterrorism partnerships, including ECOWAS, then I think we should anticipate that these jihadist groups will much quicker have the ability to expand across the sub-region even faster. And the more scary piece is that we've been saying for years that we're worried that the Sahel-based jihadist groups would eventually connect with the Lake Chad Basin jihadist groups. We never actually saw evidence of that. And I suspect that part of the reason for that was because there's been such a strong counterterrorism presence in Niger and Nigeria, respectively. If Niger, again, like I said, becomes a less reliable counterterrorism partner due to this junta, we should expect that those jihadist groups might actually start to connect. And once they connect, that'll be a very formidable foe that is much more challenging to unseat once it actually lodges in place.
Okay, so the logic is that Nigeria is trying to be careful so the jihadist group doesn't, spill over or cross over to, cause harm to the people of this nation. So they want a good partner or good partnership with Niger, and they don't really trust the coup leaders. Let me know what you think about that. That is an interesting point. I didn't think of that one.
The thoughts there of the analyst Annalise Bernard. Now another news.
Okay, so that was an interesting video. Feel free to share your thoughts on that one. Personally, as an outsider looking in, not as a professional or as an expert in the topic, I would say let's let Niger, handle themselves. Let them do their thing. That is what I would recommend. And then if they mess it up, then they would find out, but they're a sovereign nation, right? So yeah, they can handle it. And also, like they said in the video, the people are supporting the coup leaders more and more. So sending soldiers and sending forces into the nation would definitely cause a lot of casualties. So that would be one thing to consider. Well, it's the end of this video. Smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a very wonderful day. Peace.